Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about a potential trade for the Orlando Magic. As in recent reports in the NBA, it has been, Pascal Siakam are big stars. There's been multiple All-Stars that have been, or superstars that have been in trade talks this offseason. It started off with Bradley Beal. He was traded to the Suns. I don't know. Yeah, you don't really view Chris Paul as a superstar now, but he's been an all-star. He's been a superstar, and I think his addition for the Warriors will help. So that was the big trade talks. He was traded. Porzingis was traded. Some of those, big trades happened already. Now there are other guys on the list that are still available or could be available. Siakam, OG Anunoby could be a rising star. He's another guy on the Raptors that has a lot of trade value. Zach LaVine, we've heard a lot of talks on him. Same thing for Damian Lillard, James Harden. List goes on of all-stars or rising stars or even superstars that could be traded this offseason. And one of those guys is Pascal Siakam. And recently, some of the reports recently in the NBA offseason have been that the Magic would like to potentially add in Pascal Siakam, but reports also say that this is basically just noise. I kind of want to talk about what a potential trade to the Orlando Magic for Pascal Siakam and the Raptors and the Magic would look like for both squads and Siakam, and kind of talk about if it would be a good trade for both sides or if this deal could maybe happen. I doubt it, just by, number one, I don't think Siakam will be moved. I think the Raptors are a little bit overpriced on the two. I mean, I saw something about how they were declining offers for the third overall pick on OG Anunoby and Siakam. Now, Siakam, do I think he's worth the third overall pick, which at that point is Scoot Henderson? Maybe. And especially, I don't even know if I would say yes, because the third overall pick is Scoot Henderson and Siakam is a free agent the next year. But for OG Anunoby, you're getting a chance to draft Scoot Henderson. You imagine how good the Raptors would be next year if they would have had Scoot Henderson instead of OG. I love OG, but you got Scoot Henderson with Siakam and the other guys they have on that team. Raptors would be way better than they'd be looking right now, even though OG's a great player. And, I mean, now this year, this offseason, I still don't think they're going to move either one of those guys. I think it's going to be too hard because they want too much, and we'll see what happens. But and just to myself thinking with the deal I've came up with for both sides to potentially get a deal done, I don't think the Raptors would do this deal, but I still think for a guy in Siakam who you're looking at a potential rental, although I don't think, I honestly, in my opinion, I don't think Siakam would leave in free unless someone offered him a ridiculous number. Just to me, Siakam doesn't feel like, the guy to get traded, being an all-star, or even you could say a superstar. I wouldn't say a superstar, but all-star, multiple-time all-star. For being a two-time all-star and getting traded for that much on a new team, Siakam witnessed something like that happening to him in his earlier years with Kawhi Leonard, and he's talked about that before on a podcast. It's such, I think he said something like it's such a Kawhi thing to do, go 1 year with the team, win a championship, and then go to a different team. It's not like he wasn't throwing shade at Kawhi. It was just, him and Kawhi, had a good relationship, I guess, and he was making a joke. But I honestly don't think Siakam will leave the Magic. But I'm going to compare to baseball real quick. Shohei Ohtani, one of the best players in baseball right now, is being viewed as a guy who, could be traded. He's viewed as maybe one of the best, baseball players ever seen, just because what he does every night as a pitcher and a hitter. But he's a free agent this year, and that makes him a little bit less, valuable as he normally would be. So just with him being with Siakam being, I hated to make the baseball reference there, but just making the reference there and Siakam being, a rent, maybe potentially a rental, I don't know how much that makes him worth. The Blazers were willing to the Blazers were willing to trade the third overall pick, but the Blazers were desperate to keep Dame. And that's something Damian Lillard said he would potentially want, is adding in Pascal Siakam. So the Blazers, in my opinion, were desperate. Let's go over a potential trade for the Toronto Raptors and the Orlando Magic to land the Magic, the two-time All-Star. So here's what I have potentially going down. I have the Raptors receiving Jalen Suggs, who was the 5th overall pick in the 2021 NBA draft. I still think that he could get a little bit better, but he hasn't been that great in his first couple years. This year, he was solid. He averaged 11 points per game and 4 assists per game with 4 rebounds per game and shot 30% from 3. But I honestly, for a 5th overall pick, I don't think he's been that great. But maybe a change of scenery and a team in the Raptors who were actually thinking about potentially drafting him at pick 4 in that draft and instead drafted Scotty Barnes, could potentially get a guy they thought about taking at pick 4. But instead they went with Scotty Barnes at pick 4 instead of Jalen Suggs. Then they would also get Wendell Carter Jr., who had an amazing season with the Magic this year as their starting center. 24 years old, was the 7th overall pick in the 2018 draft. He averaged 15 points per game this season with 9 rebounds per game. Shot 36% from 3 as a 6'10 big man. Also averaged over 2 assists as a big man as well. Shot 53% from field goal. Had a really solid season for the Magic this year. And then the Raptors would also get Gary Harris, a shooting guard, who averaged 8 points per game on 43% three-point shooting. And then draft picks. Here's where draft picks come into hand. The Magic would give a 2024 first-round pick, a 2026 first-round pick that belongs to Orlando as well. So they get a 2024 and 2026 first-round picks. Then they get two 2024 second-round picks, which is one belongs to Orlando, and then one belongs to Denver, and then a 2026 second-round pick that belongs to Denver. So full trade. Siakam goes to Orlando to pair up with their young core and the really good squad they have there. And then in return, the Raptors get Jalen Suggs, who averaged 11 points per game this season with 4 assists and 4 rebounds per game. They also get Gary Harris, who averaged 8 points per game on 43% three-point shooting. They get Wendell Carter Jr., who averaged 15 and 9 on 36% shooting as a center. And then they get 2 first-round picks in 2024 and 2026, and then they get 3 second-round picks, and maybe, let's say, a pick swap as well. I feel like that's a pretty decent offer. You're getting good. I don't know if they'll be good draft picks, but you're getting a solid amount of draft picks and 3 second-round picks, 2 first-round picks, maybe a pick swap, and then some solid, nice young players in Wendell Carter Jr. and Jalen Suggs, and then a nice veteran three-point shooter in Gary Harris. I don't think the Raptors do that deal, but that is a solid offer. I don't think the Blazers are going to be on the market for Siakam anymore, so that's one less team that is interested in Pascal. But ultimately, I think the Raptors will most likely just keep Pascal Siakam this offseason and keep him on the roster. But let's look at what the Magic lineup would look like for them if they make this trade. So at starting point guard, you would see most likely Markelle Fultz. Maybe there's a point guard battle between him and I doubt it though. Him and Cole Anthony, I doubt it though. So Markelle Fultz at the 1, Anthony Black, who was the 6th overall pick in this year's draft, at the 2. Maybe not. Maybe Jet Howard, the 11th overall pick at the 2, but I doubt it. I bet he comes off the bench. Then at the 3, Franz Wagner, who, what pick was he in the 2021 draft? I think he was in the lottery, and I know he was in the top 10, but I forget what pick he was. He might have been, I think he was pick 6. He was pick 6, I believe. Yeah, I believe he was either pick 6 or pick 7 in the 2021 NBA draft. He's done great in his first couple years in the NBA, his first 2 years in the NBA. At the 3, then at the 4, you have two-time All-Star Pascal Siakam, who averaged 24 and 8 this season. And then at 5, you have the first overall. At the 5, you have the first overall pick of the 2022 NBA draft, Paolo Banchero. I know it seems a little bit of a small ball type of lineup, but at the same time, Banchero is 6'10". So and then Wendell Carter Jr. was playing the 5 last year at like 6'9.5". So I don't think it's it's not really that much of a small ball lineup because you have Anthony Black, who's 6'7" at the shooting guard. You have Banchero and Siakam and Franz Wagner, who are good size guys as well. And then you have some size off the bench as well. You have Jonathan Isaac off the bench. You have Mo Wagner off the bench. Joe Ingles. You have some good size off the bench. I think the three-point shooting would be really nice as well because off the bench you have Cole Anthony, Jet Howard, Joe Ingles, Jonathan Isaac, Mo Wagner. I really like the bench unit for them in this potential trade as well because you have a good solid bench with two really nice guards in Jet Howard and Cole Anthony, and then some nice older veterans. Mo Wagner, what was he drafted, like 2017, 2018, something like that. So he's a little bit older compared to all the other guys. Besides Siakam, there's a lot of young guys on this team. So you got a couple of vets like Jonathan Isaac and Joe Ingles off the bench, and then Mo Wagner, who's not a veteran, but he is an older guy on this roster compared to some of the other guys besides Siakam, Ingles, and Isaac. And I would really like the way this team would look. They should definitely be a top 10 seed in the Eastern Conference if this trade were to happen, but I very much doubt this trade would happen. It's a solid offer, but I think most likely not only could the Raptors get more for Pascal Siakam than two solid players in Jalen Suggs and Wendell Carter Jr. and Gary Harris as well, and 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, and 3 second-round picks. I also think they're not going to trade Siakam. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Raptors and what they do this offseason with Siakam and Anunoby. But we'll see. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.